All right, peace and blessings, everybody. Rob YB Youngblood, president of sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days, coming at you with another episode of the YB's Collaboration Corner in conjunction with Self-Publishing 30 Days. I am your host, once again, Rob YB Youngblood, and I have the pleasure and the honor of being with a gentleman that I've known for over 10 years. This brother is a trailblazer. He's a history buff. He's all things HBCU, all things fathers. Ryan A. Bell, he is a tremendous brother, man. I'm gonna give him an opportunity to introduce himself. Ryan, welcome to YB's Collaboration Corner, my brother.
Man, appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, man. We were talking before we hit the record button about all things dads, man. And there's this movie that came out that truly inspired me. It's called Show Me the Father, and it features a bunch of dads, mostly athletes, that are talking about their situations, man. So talk a little bit about yourself and why are you so passionate about fathers?
Yeah, man. First of all, man, thanks for having me, man. And like I tell people all the time, man, anytime I got the space to tell somebody thank you and I appreciate them, I take the opportunity to do it. So I just want to let everybody who gets the opportunity to see this, man, know that I appreciate you for everything you've done. Not only for Virginia Union University, not only for Alpha Phi Alpha and the Young Brothers on the campus over there at Gamma Chapter, man, but for me personally, bro. So thank you so much for everything you've done to pour into so many lives, man. So definitely appreciate you creating this space, man. But fatherhood for me, the reason why I would say it's most important is because first and foremost, that's all I knew, right? All I knew was good fathering, right? I got a chance to see my dad, who I describe him as somebody with quiet strength, right? You know, cerebrally quiet, right? Just a guy who operated and was very strategic in his moves, and not only his moves professionally, but I got to see that commitment to his family. And I share the story with people all the time. My parents got divorced when I was in the 7th grade, right? And I was born in Southern California. My mom is from Roanoke, Virginia, right? Miles and miles apart, right? And so when they got divorced that summer, my mom said, "Hey, we're going to Virginia for a visit." So she packed me up, she packed my brother up. My sister at the time was only not even one yet, right? And we go out to Virginia. And you know, as the summer is getting closer and closer to the summer being over, I'm like, hey, I'm trying to go back to California, right? My friends there, you know, school's there, the weather's better there, right? You know, I'm trying to get back. Yeah. And so long story short, I ended up graduating high school from Roanoke, Virginia. And the reason for that was my dad ended up moving and leaving his family, not just leaving his job, but all his brothers, all his sisters, his nieces, his nephews, his aunts, everybody that he knew and that he loved and what he built for his career. My dad was the first Black principal in the county he was in over 100 years, right? And he left all of that. And he'd only left it for one reason. His children weren't there, right? His children were here. So, man, fathering is just something that's been ingrained in me, man. You know, all my uncles, amazing fathers, right? My brother, I tell people all the time, my younger brother is one of the best fathers I know, right? So, fatherhood is just something to me that it's fun, right? It's fun, it's eye-opening, it's revealing, right? Your kids tell you some things about yourself that you like, man, you know, you got to take a step back and kind of analyze yourself. So yeah, man, fatherhood and the journey of fatherhood, man, it's just something that I feel once it was my turn to do it. And I did a little too, you know, when I wasn't a father, then I became a daddy to a whole bunch of kids too quick, right? But we talk about that later.
Yeah.
It was just something that was in me, man.
So let's talk a little bit about your professional background, man. You have an organization that you launched several years ago. You're going down the path of consulting, things of that nature. Talk a little bit about your professional background. Talk a little bit about the organization and organizations that you're affiliated with. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, man, whenever I talk about what I do and what I like to do, I kind of like to do it like in a story format, kind of like a chronological order of how I walked into these particular spaces, right? So I went to Virginia Union, you know, our alma mater, the Panthers, for business, right? I was in the St. Louis School of Business. got out the Sidney Lewis School of Business, man, and there was just no jobs in the business arena, right? And so my dad, being in education, like I said, my dad was a principal and an educator. He said, "Hey, man, why don't you try out education?" And I had just had my daughter, right? So at this particular time, I'm walking into my journey of fatherhood, and I'm in Richmond, and she's down in the Tidewater area. So I said, "Man, you know what? I'm gonna try teaching," and I went and applied for a job down in York County, Virginia, right outside of Hampton. And I was a special ed teacher's assistant, right? And so, there in that area, York County, they call it an education bubble, right? From the stance of it's a military town. So the challenges that you see in that area aren't necessarily the same types of challenges that you see in places like Richmond, right? And so people don't leave those areas, right? Because the challenges that you see is the stuff that's a little easier to deal with, right? And so they told me straight up, they said, "Hey, Ryan, we love you. We'd love to have you as a teacher, but we don't necessarily have to hire you on what they call a provisional license," right? I wasn't a fully licensed teacher at the time. So this is my first kind of turning point and what would later birth what I do now, right? So I have to make this decision at this particular time. Man, do I stay here and make less money through this journey until I end up getting my degree and getting my credentials and stay closer to my daughter? Or do I move an hour and a half back down the road to Richmond, where Richmond told me, we'll bring you on. And at that particular time, the difference in pay would have been about $35,000 for me, right? And so that was the first real turning point in my life where I had to make this decision on, it's not necessarily the wrong decision either way, but what's the best for me to provide for my child at that particular time, right? So the ultimate decision I made, I left, I went to Richmond. At that particular time, I'm a young father. All I'm thinking about, man, is money. I gotta have the money to be able to provide for my daughter, right? And so I leave, I go to Richmond, and I become a teacher and special ed teacher for elementary school, right? And I did that for 4 years. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. And another turning point happened for me in this particular time of my life, or how I ended up where I was at. I got the opportunity to see how schools interacted with parents, more specifically, how schools interacted with fathers, right? And it wasn't necessarily the greatest, but at this particular point in time, I'm still young, I'm still fresh, I'm still trying to focus on the teaching aspect of it. I'm not really thinking in that lane, in that direction yet, right? And so then I leave Richmond after about 4 years, and I move back home to Roanoke, Virginia. And thanks to YB, I end up in a position with the health department, right, here, leading a new program specifically focused on families and whole family thriving, trying to change the trajectory of life for the children within the family, right? And what I really liked about the program, it's called the Virginia Family and Fatherhood Initiative, was its specific focus on fathers, right?
Right.
And so it was in this position where, we were able to do some really good work, working in the jails, working in the schools, working in the courts, working in the community, do some great work with men. And so I was getting invited to these different conferences, right, to come talk about our program and what we were doing with fathers and how we were impacting the lives of children through empowering the men in their lives, right? And I would be at these conferences, man, and they would just be talking horrible about dads, right? They're unengaged, they're not emotionally present, they're not physically present. And then when they started talking about Black dads, the conversation went from horrible to disgusting, right? And what I was hearing and how they would describe Black dads, right? And so at that particular point in time, I'm thinking to myself, man, at that time, I'm a dad of two now at this point in time, right? And I'm like, man, I'm not that person you describe, right?
Right.
I'm looking at my brother. He's not that person that you're describing. I'm looking at my own father. He's not that person that you're describing. I'm looking at my uncles, my cousins. I'm looking at my fraternity brothers, such as yourself, right?
Yeah.
They're not those people that you're describing, right? And I told people, man, I could go about 35, 40 deep, just rattle off names of individuals who don't fit that stereotype.
Yeah.
And so that's what led me to start the organization that you're mentioning, Black Father Family, right? And essentially what Black Father Family is, man, it's a nonprofit specifically focused on one, empowering the fathers to begin to have that paradigm shift, right? To put fathers in the position to do what they're already doing, right? Provide for their families, to put fathers in the position to be those emotional supports, those financial supports, right? To be all things parent, to really parent in purpose for their children, right? And so that's what kind of led me to that particular path. But then I also saw that I couldn't just equip the men with these tools, right? For example, I couldn't just bring a man in and help him understand how to access his child's education, how to go to the school building, what to ask for, the types of questions to ask, how to involve yourself in the overall day-to-day of the school building and the school building culture, right? Because when I would send them over there, what would happen? The school wasn't prepared to receive those men, right? And so that's what led me down this road of what you mentioned in the consulting space with my organization, the Bell Effect, right? Where we work with the institutions that work with these men, right? To help them create more authentic environments to invite those men into, right? What it looks like, how you communicate, how you recruit, not only how you recruit, how do you get them to stay here, right? How do you best incorporate their ideas, their perspectives, right? And then how do you begin to help them through your institution, whether it's the school system, whether it's Head Start, Department of Social Services, the court, whatever it is, how do you then now position your institution to empower the father, thinking and always thinking in the back of our minds, we're changing the lives of the children.
Yeah, I love that, man. And your passion shines through when you share that, man. I've seen you grow as a young man, coming out of undergraduate school and going through your challenges, but you stay committed to your role as a father, man. So kudos to you on that. Let's talk a little bit about collaboration. Obviously, the title of this podcast is YB's Collaboration Corner. Talk a little bit about what is your definition of collaboration, and how has collaboration helped you to create currency?
Yeah, so man, to me, collaboration is simple, man. It's really just this sharing you, right? Sharing you and being willing to receive others, right? And so whether that's putting you in a space, whether you're in a business relationship, right? Sharing your expertise, sharing your knowledge, and then being in a position to then receive that expertise and that knowledge from somebody else,
right?
To get to a positive place, right? To get to some desired goals, some desired outcomes, right? It's the same type of mindset I take into my parenting, right? My parenting has informed my business practices, right? I have to collaborate with the mothers of my children, right? I have to collaborate with them in a way that then produces what? Positive outcomes and positive goals for our children, right? That's my bottom line. My bottom line is the health and well-being of my children. The same way in the business, you have a bottom line, right? And collaboration can then push you towards that bottom line.
Yeah.
And for me, man, collaboration, I shared this on Facebook the other day. Collaboration has literally created a career for me. Literally created a career for me. And what I mean by that, my particular organization, Black Father Family, the nonprofit side of what I do, is currently housed as an initiative underneath the umbrella of the United Way of the Roanoke Valley, right? That partnership came from collaboration. As I was going through this process of building out my board of directors early out for my program, I reached out to one of our mutual friends, our good friends, and a mentor of mine, Mingo, right? And that was on him and I collaborated around a project to build out, to re-stand up here in the Roanoke region.
Right.
I then brought other minds to the table. Hey, I don't know everything, right? I don't understand necessarily all the things around fiduciary responsibilities just yet, right? Different things of that nature. But I brought these people together, these experts, not being afraid, because when you collaborate, you don't ever, and people have probably heard this 1,000 times, right? You don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room, right? So I'm intentionally going and grabbing people that I know they've been in business for 30 years. They've been in the nonprofit sector for 25 years. They got an MBA, a PhD, an EDD, an AD, all these other things. They got them, right? I'm bringing all these folks to the table. Hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me, right?
Yeah.
And long story short, as we were going through this process of building this thing out, man, one of the things that we needed in that particular time was somebody to house us, to be a fiscal agent for us, right?
Right.
And I reached out to one of the greatest people who I know, man, Abby Hamilton. She's the CEO of the United Way of the Roanoke Valley right now. And that was all birthed out of some relationships where within collaboration, and here's the key, and you taught me this, you always approach it from the place of being willing to give. What can I do, right? And so in my early stages, in my conversations with the United Way, even way before this became an idea, this grassroots effort that I had, I was putting myself in position with them to just say, how can I help my community? How can I help the United Way? I love what you guys are doing. how can I support you? How can I help you? I was already laying the seeds of collaboration with them before they knew it,
Right.
and before I knew it,
Yeah.
right before I knew it. So fast forward, we get there. I asked them, would they be willing to do that? And it was without question. It was, why you didn't ask us sooner?
Right.
Right? You know, we've been waiting on something like this. Why you didn't ask us sooner? So
Right.
that's one immediate example I can give on how collaboration has created currency for me, because it literally is putting money in my pocket right now.
That's good, man. I love that, man. You know, and I think the key to collaboration is having that focus, right? So not being all over the place, and you had a main focus, and people were able to gravitate to that focus, and they added their expertise to that, and they felt like it was mutually beneficial. So, hey, you guys, I'm talking to Ryan A. Bell. Ryan is the founder of Black Father Family. He's also the CEO of the Bell Effect. This gentleman is kicking up a lot of dust in Virginia specifically, but he's setting the pace throughout the entire country as it pertains to fathers and specifically Black fathers. So Ryan, let's talk about how do you collaborate with us? Like, what are you looking for when it comes to collaboration? Now that you understand the direction that you want to go, you know, the mission that you're on, like talk a little bit about what do you look for? Like, so for example, if somebody was listening right now and they wanted to help you, what specifically are you looking for when it comes to collaboration?
Yeah, so right now I'm looking for individuals first and foremost who have a heart for people, right? Who the main goal is to help, to serve, and to be able to put others in a better position for themselves and for their families, right? So that's the first thing I'm looking for. I would be looking for some in collaboration efforts, and then from there, you know, I'm really looking for individuals who have their hands on men, right? Individuals, organizations, and individuals who are, you know, saying, hey, maybe we're having some trouble. We're having some trouble, or we're having some challenges on engaging the men within our organization, engaging the fathers in our organization, and we need we need some help, some best practices. We need some guidance on, you know, how we can maybe, as I tell people, you know, stir up that secret sauce, right? That secret sauce of fatherhood engagement. So,
Right.
you know, anybody, I'm looking for anybody that has ideas around fundraising opportunities, right? Anybody that's doing anything unique, as we just mentioned around the movie that you talked about earlier, right? And we'll share a little bit about that later. But
Yeah.
unique ideas. I'm not somebody who's interested in the same old saying, or how we used to do things, or how we've always done things. You know, I'm looking for individuals who are creative, who are fun, who are willing to push the envelope on some things, right? And who are really committed to just changing lives of children, man.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. And so when you think about, you know, obviously that's the help that you need. If there was someone out there that needed you, how could they collaborate with you? Like they're listening to this podcast, they get excited about your message, they feel like, you know what, this is somebody that I want to be able to latch my wagon to. How could they connect with you?
Yeah, so anybody can connect with me on Facebook at Ryan Anthony Bell. You can connect with me on Facebook at Black Father Family. You can connect with me. I'm on LinkedIn at Ryan Bell on LinkedIn. And you can shoot me an email to ryanbellbff@gmail.com. And you know, I'm always looking for opportunities to collaborate. Always looking for opportunities to come share. Looking for opportunities to bring folks in. You know, we're always doing things such as festivals and workshops and conferences and different things of that nature. And always looking to come push into other places too. Again, if you need any assistance in stirring up that secret sauce of fathers, man, I'm your guy. I'm here for you.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So you talk about the festivals, man. Over the last several years, man, you've been doing some festivals in the Roanoke Valley area. I know you have some desires to do at other locations. Talk about that a little bit, and even talk about the amount of collaboration that goes into putting on such a festival. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we had our second festival this past summer, um, and we couldn't do it last year, of course, because of what was happening in the world. But it's just an awesome event. Dad, you know, to see all these Black fathers there, happy, smiling, celebrating their children, right? Being encouraged around this idea of just being a dad, being there, having fun with your children, and it's just a place to celebrate them, right? And one of the things that was really profound to me this year was the first year that we gave out awards, right? We gave out our John R.F. Lewis Courageous Father Awards, named after a gentleman, a good friend of mine here from the Roanoke Valley who passed away recently in January, right, unexpectedly, and was an awesome dad, a great dad. And so we decided to give out this award in his honor this year. And as we were giving these men these awards, some of these men were telling me, this is the first time I've ever been recognized for anything in my life, right? For anything in my life. And so, and just how much it meant to them, how much it meant to the families, because there's also this notion out there that the families view fathers a certain way, right? And all the families we had out there, man, we had grandmas out there jumping up and down. That's my baby, right? We had uncles out there, man. You go, the whole, just for receiving an award and being recognized for what they do. And I'm not a person that I tell people the main reason why we did this festival. I'm not a person who subscribes to the notion of you shouldn't get praised or celebrated for doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Because there's somebody who ain't doing what they supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yep.
And so for me, I'm like, man, if I see you out there doing what you're supposed to do, and I got any control over it on my own, no matter how small or how big it is, I'm gonna let you know, right? I'm gonna let you know, man. I tell people all the time, man. Whenever I get a chance, I like to tell people, man, I love you for being a dad. Period, right? Yeah. And so to get the festival off the ground, man, it took collaboration, right? We had to bring in the activities for the kids, right? And we were specific with that, right? We specifically hired a guy by the name of Ruben here in the area in D&G Wonderland, right? If anybody is saying this from the Roanoke area or from Southwest Virginia, holler at Ruben at D&G Wonderland for the inflatables. But we chose him specifically. Why? He's a Black father. And so the festival is not only there to celebrate you for your fatherhood, but to put you in a better position economically as well to provide for your family, right? Because what I understand, don't get me wrong, we need organizations that celebrate men, right? And celebrate you for doing what you're supposed to do. But what I came to the conclusion recently was, and while we kind of moved in the direction we did with Black Father Family, it's no good for me to celebrate you being a father and then send you back into the same circumstances that you're living in and don't offer you the opportunity to elevate your family, right? Don't offer you those tools, those resources, those opportunities, right? And so if there's anything in my nature, right, we bring those individuals out. We held a cornhole tournament, man, where we gave away some money to some dads out there. Even the DJ services that we had out there, we chose another gentleman. Why did we pick him? He's a Black father, right? The food vendor that we had out there, that particular family, I know the gentleman, it's a Black father, right? We wanted to put the money from the festival back into the hands of the fathers in the community that would be there. And then the whole time it was a partnership with the schools, and the schools was an intentional collaboration. And the reason why we wanted to host it at a school was to begin to have these conversations that we were having out there with the dads around how they could become how they could begin to have an increased presence in the day-to-day lives of the school building, right? The school culture, the school atmosphere, right? Because there's data out there, and I don't know the exact numbers, so I have to look it up and get back to you, but there's data out there that shows that if a father comes and has lunch with his particular child, right? There's data out there that suggests or shows the importance of that for every other child in that classroom, right? So I tell men all the time, and when you're coming over here into this building, you're no longer doing it just for yourself, right? Last thing I share with you on this, you see the gentleman behind me, right? I'm at my brother's place right here. So the gentleman over my left shoulder, Minister Farrakhan, right? Awesome gentleman, man, very profound. And it was one particular lecture that my brother sent me, and he was talking, it was on Father's Day. And at the end of the lecture, he said, essentially what he said was, you're not a good daddy if you're only a good daddy to the kids in your household.
Come on, man.
Right? That is, we got to get back to this idea. We got to take care of everybody's kids, right? It's not just it's not just YB's kids. It's not just Ryan's kids. Them are kids, right? You Uncle YB. I'm Uncle Ryan.
Yeah.
We see them out. We got to take care of them, right? And so I encourage these men, we're having these conversations of what it would do for the other children who were involved in this atmosphere, right? So we even told the moms, right? We told moms, because what I'm not oblivious to is the fact that, we do have some dads who need some additional encouragement.
Right.
To take that responsibility seriously, right? So even if dad ain't there, man, we was telling the moms, hey man, bring your kid out here to the festival.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We got a man here who will be willing to be that for your child, right? So it was a great time, man. It took collaboration 100%, man, from the events we had, from the prizes we were able to give away, from the food that we served, from the venue that it was hosted at, man. We had a whole bunch of people who were interested in being a part of this, man. It was just awesome to see how many institutions, how many organizations from the Roanoke Valley really were in support of the work that we were doing.
That's good. And so what's the name of the festival? So if people want to support or they want to be a part of the next one, what's the name of the festival?
Black Father Festival. So it's the Black Father Families Black Father Festival.
I love it. I love it. Listen, this is Ryan Anthony Bell. I want, he gave out his old full government, but I just call him Ryan A. Bell. I know him as Ryan. But listen, Ryan, we're gonna land the plane with this, man. I typically do like a quick, round robin type questions, man. So we rock with self-publishing 30 days, where we focus on helping aspiring authors to become published authors. So I know you're in the process of putting some pieces together. We won't go too deep into that just yet, but if you had the opportunity to go to any place in the world, right, any location, any country in the world to write your best-selling book, where would you go?
Africa.
Okay, where? But okay, that's one big continent. Like where?
I don't even. Truth be told, man, that's a good question.
Just drop you off anywhere, bro.
Just drop you off somewhere in Africa. I've always wanted to go to the Congo. I think that's where I saw the documentary on Animal Planet one year. I'm a huge Animal Planet guy, where they had the silverback gorillas at, and I've always wanted to go visit there. But drop me off in Africa somewhere.
Any place in Africa, bro. Just any place in Africa. I love it, man. Hey, let's tell the people where they can find you once again, and give them all your information on how they can connect with you if they want to collaborate.
Yeah, man, you can email me at ryanbellbff@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Facebook at Ryan Anthony Bell or at Black Father Family, or you can reach me on LinkedIn at Ryan Bell as well.
Excellent. This is another episode of YB's Collaboration Corner in conjunction with Self-Publishing 30 Days. I am your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales, Master Connector, and your LinkedIn locksmith. It has been an honor and privilege to be here with my frat brother, my brother, my mentee, my protege, Ryan A. Bell. This is another episode of our podcast, and so we welcome you to the next one. Just remember, be encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, continue to share your faith. And the way that you do that is by walking in your gift, because your gift will make room for you. Be encouraged. See you next time. Peace.